morning to you all out there. I am backwards hat Jacob. Welcome into the episode of the Barking Brown Show. Mr. Casey Kinnaman and Nick Carnes down below. We're brought to you as always by our friends over at SeatGeek. Get your tickets for this upcoming season. A lot of great action coming with. I guess you could still get tickets to the Minnesota game. It's this weekend. That's in Cleveland, the final second and last home preseason game coming up on Saturday. If you want to go check our friends over at SeatGeek, use our promo code Barking Browns, get $20 off that purchase for any other game or event, or maybe go watch some wrestling. It's pretty electric. You can go check some of that stuff out on our friends over at SeatGeek. Listen, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitter or Facebook or Twitch, make sure you hop over to the YouTube at youtube.com/@thebarkingbrowns. Subscribe. Less than 100 away from that big 1,000 goal.
So close.
901 as of this live. So make sure you go hit that sub button. Click on that bell. Give us a thumbs up. Help us a ton, gentlemen. How are we?
Doing fantastic. Kind of out of my sorts because, to tap the fourth wall, I'm not in my usual spot. I'm transitioning, right? So the office that I usually come to you from is now my youngest daughter's room, and I'm in her room. And while I got everything out of it, I still have puppy posters and stars on the ceiling and butterflies, and so a little bit of a transition period. I'm going to have to paint it, put everything up, but we're here. Flag behind me. It's Barking Browns time.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Ironically, I am going to Minneapolis this weekend. That was not – I did not know at the time that the Browns would be playing the Vikings, so I'm gonna find me a Vikings bar. We're going to watch some Browns-Vikings preseason action there. I'm entering my Jerome Ford era, a Jerome Ford 34 on Saturday. So that'd be pretty fun. I really enjoy that. Sometimes I get to have a birthday on a Browns preseason game because it's like the most fun version of I don't really care about the outcome. I just get to watch football. It's a very enjoyable time. So I'm really excited to explore a little Minneapolis this weekend and watch some Browns football.
How do you pick where you're going? Is there a dartboard involved? How do we land?
Start hitting the Googler or something?
Good question. A lot of times when we go to new places, we kind of just open maps, and then most of the time, if somewhere has an interesting name, that kind of appeases both of us, and we'll look at that place and say, hey, that sound good? I don't know. I've never been to Minneapolis. I've never really been to that region of the country, so this is gonna be a first. I'm gonna find a whole bunch of beer maybe and some. I can't remember what it is what their signature food is there, but I'm gonna find out.
Report back.
I will.
I was gonna say I don't know either. So we're gonna dive into the preseason opener, the Packers between the Packers and the Browns in Cleveland on Saturday. Got some big takeaways from the All-22. Now that we were originally gonna play some of the All-22 and go over some of that film study with you guys, our technical issues were we got some wires crossed. We all did the defense and nobody did the offense. And then we couldn't get some clips thrown together. They wouldn't send via an email and things like that. So no film this week, but this is why we're trying it out. We'll see. We're hoping that it can work out for next week. If it can't, whatever, we'll still give you all of our breakdown from everything that we saw. But we got to talk about Michael Hall. I don't want to talk about it a ton because it's an ongoing investigation. I'm not going to act like I know what happened, what didn't happen, and what's going to happen. I'll tell you what I've heard. I'll tell you my thoughts on it. I'll let these other two gentlemen do that as well, and we're going to move on because, I don't want to talk about it, but I know that, everybody's going to be like, well, did you bring up Michael Hall? So it's okay. So Michael Hall was arrested this morning. Some stuff has come out with the police reports, but in the police report, there was a domestic situation that involved his fiance. There was that report stated that there some kind of altercation that ended with him hitting or throwing a baby bottle or something at her head, something along those lines. He dragged her out, threw all of her shit out onto the yard, dragged her out there, and allegedly put a gun to her head and said, I'm just going to effing end it all, or I could effing end it all, something along those lines. That is what the report says. If that report is true, you got to get some help, man. Like if that is true, and I know some people are starting to say, well, now this is another Andrew Berry move that he took a risk on somebody with some character concerns. But I know that some people said some stuff about Michael Hall around the draft, but it really wasn't that serious. Like DeJuan Jones's stuff, you heard all the time, like their concerns, and that's why he fell. With Hall, I kind of heard them, but not on that level. But definitely not on this level. Like the concerns that I had heard about Michael Hall weren't him doing something like this. So I just hope that whatever happened, that everybody in that situation is okay and they can move forward. I hope that, his fiance and the other people involved, like they're okay and they can recover from this incident and everything like that. And if what is being reported he did, that's a garbage person if that stuff is true. 100% garbage person. Football should be the furthest thing from his mind right now. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah, the eyewitness accounts that were recorded were heinous.
Yes.
12 reported that she saw all this as the girl's mother. I read them. And you said it perfectly. If that is what occurred, and like I don't even give a shit about the Andrew Berry stuff, man. This is a deeper thing. I don't like whatever, man. If you want to be mad at that, be mad at that. But if this young man is behaving in this way and endangering people, and there were kids present, it's gross, and he needs to seek help. But the other part of it is all those things, the eyewitness accounts, were not backed up on the actual report by the officer. There was no reported injury to the woman. They didn't go to the hospital, but he has guns on him. Like that's in the report.
Yeah, we know that.
In the Smith and Wesson. Like, so even if he's definitely making terrible choices, no matter how you're looking at it, he was definitely an altercation. The baby bottle thing was on both. But a lot of stuff was left out of the actual typed report that the officers handled. I don't know, man. Like you said, it's an ongoing thing. But you hate to hear it, and you sometimes forget because you watch these guys on television. This kid is young, man, and he could have already thrown his professional career away if some of these things prove to be true. And like that's, it's a cautionary tale. It's just you feel bad for the family involved, the kids that saw it. That to me, that's where that's where it makes me sick. Is there were kids present when this happened. That's gross. And you just got to hope that the best case scenario plays out. And regardless of the findings, he learns from this and seeks help, even if his career is over. There's no way to go through life inflicting injury and whatever else upon others. So, yeah, I'm not going to throw a book at anyone because I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. But these are gross ass allegations, man, and you can't feel good about it. There's no winners in any of this. So anyone out there grandstanding, one side or the other, man, just chill out, dude. These are humans, and you hate to see it, man.
It was just really jarring to read. I didn't get all the time that I wanted to today to dive deep into everything that was out there, but I saw the initial one. Jacob and I talked about it a little bit earlier today, and these situations are just this. It's upsetting. It's upsetting, and I feel bad for everybody that's involved in this situation. And I can't imagine that obviously we don't have the full story yet, and the team hasn't acted, but I just feel for everybody. Anytime a situation like that arises, that there's going to be aftershocks from it, on the people involved and the impact that leaves, especially on kids. And it's just it's upsetting to think about. It's upsetting to talk about. I hope that this is somehow less severe than it was reported as, just from a human perspective, because you never want to leave that type of trauma on anybody. And I'm not really. I wasn't thinking about like the football field. It just it sucks, and so I'm hoping that I don't know. I don't know where it goes from here. It's just it's had me upset all day, and I'm sending all the goodness to all the people involved.
I think, Casey, you kind of touched on it, and I think about this a lot. You know, Michael Hall's 21 years old, and you may have just ruined your career at 21 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we'll see what comes out. We'll see, you know, all of that stuff. We don't know a lot. I mean, Drew, easier access to mental health in this country.
Absolutely.
Very, very helpful. That would be awesome, MC, 100,000,000%. Drew talked about this. It was kind of interesting. He was only charged with a misdemeanor.
Yeah, which doesn't add up to the eyewitness report. If you hold a gun to someone's head, that's not a misdemeanor.
That is very far.
You forcibly remove someone from some place, no matter what, that's kidnapping.
Yeah,
you do it with a gun, that's a whole nother charge. So the mathing with some of the allegations versus what he was charged with. So it's something to keep in mind.
Once you start brandishing weapons, you're getting in felony territory.
Yes, sir.
Like, I mean, you're getting in borderline like attempted murder stuff. I'm not saying that's what he did, but like, that can be what you get in a situation like this. Like, so it's very, very serious. I just hope for the best. The only way I can do it. That's all I can do. So shift to the game, shift to what we're here about. Sorry. Okay. You want to start offense or defense? What do you guys want to do?
Dealer's choice, baby. You call it. Flip a coin.
Last time my dealer's choice, you took the one I took.
That is true. That is exactly how that went down.
I want to start offense. And the reason I want to start with offense is that I think in certain areas, having rewatched the All-22, having looked at some of the PFF grades and some of the data and some of all this stuff that I've done, I think some players and the offense as a whole was better than what some people are saying. That doesn't mean it was good, because it really wasn't. It was good in spurts. Certain players were good. Let's say that. Yeah. So I'm going to start with the offense. And, you know, we'll start with, I think we could start with the bad on offense.
Okay.
If I never see James Hudson at left tackle again, it'll be
too soon.
It'll be far too soon. I really think you should lean on trying him at guard. I really do. Because when he's a run blocker, when James Hudson is just engaged straight into your face, when he's going forward, when he's run blocking, he can be nasty. Like, he can be a nasty road, you know, he could be a Wyatt Teller, Mauler type guard. I really think so. He started his college career as a defensive tackle at Michigan. So, like, you kind of can see some of that in his game. He just, he can't anchor. He can't anchor in pass protection. And he starts, I saw, Matt Wilson. It's Matt Wilson, right? It's not Michael Wilson. Matt Wilson.
Matt Wilson.
At Dogs by Nature. I saw him talking about it. Yeah, he does a lot of really cool offensive line stuff. He's got an offensive line background and stuff. And so he likes to talk about the offensive line quite a bit on Twitter. And he was talking about it. It was like, he's like, you should not be backing up. You should not be backpedaling when you're pass protecting as a tackle, and that's what James Hudson does a lot. He was talking about he does a couple of kicks, does a couple of his outside kicks, and then he starts backing up. And he's allowing these guys to get into his frame, to control him and to go around him. And because I think he's just playing too passive protector on that side.
Yeah.
It's not working out. Do not force a square peg into a round hole in this situation, because it's not working.
You said it. He's a linear athlete. It's forward, it's backwards. You got to be laterally proficient to play offensive tackle, and he just doesn't have it. And the biggest knock that I see is the reason people gawk over tackles having long arms is because when someone's running the arc, you have to maintain contact. You have to long arm them, and he doesn't. He'll make initial contact, and then there's space. And in that space, those guys are better athletes than he is, and he loses it around the corner. And then that's just running the arc. But he also gives up bull rush. If you look at that play Van Ness had, now there was inside pressure that forced Winston up and into the pocket, but believe Hudson was on skates, fam. Like Lucas Van Ness was coming through his chest to get there, and he got there. He got home doing it. So yeah, I don't see it. I have an article coming out tomorrow about the players that have the most to gain during these joint practices, and I put Hudson on it. But Hudson not for the reason because he's going to get looks, against the starters. But we're in year 4. If you can't prove to be a viable option as a backup by year 4, they need to move on and give that roster spot to someone else they can develop or someone who's already proven they could do it, like a Fetty or a Denegi or a Lorenzo Thompson. If you can't just keep throwing bad money, we're in year 4 and he still to me hasn't proven to be a viable backup. So yeah, man, it's unfortunate, and I think his career as a Cleveland Browns on the line this week.
Here's where I'm at. I think there are some highly publicized, high-profile guys missing from camps around the NFL that are really crucial to their team. CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase come to mind, and I just feel like the Browns' offensive tackle situation. Obviously, it wouldn't get that type of publicity because nobody's holding out. But it is as crucial and as key to get these guys on the field and not have James Hudson out there trying to block Micah Parsons or whoever is going to rush. But because that to me was shades of like the week 2 in Pittsburgh when Deshaun just got eaten alive and there was just no real chance of success offensively. And I thought the offensive line as a whole just especially in run blocking struggled because I wanted to bring this up. I'll tell you by I'll just give you yards per carry and no names needed. But the Browns by running back averaged 3.8, 2.5, 1.2, 2.0, and that's it. Yards per carry per each running back. That's a whopping 2.7 yards per carry as a team from your running back room. And that's a little concerning.
That's a lot of punts.
Oh boy. Because I'm not sure about you guys. I was expecting some offensive fireworks. Last year, we saw a lot of offensive success in preseason, and there was not a whole lot of that to be found week 1.
Well, we still saw the offensive production, but it came at the end when DTR was playing, the guy who gave it to us last year. He's the reason it was exciting on offense last year.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It just the offensive line. I did not think the offensive line as a whole played very well, especially run blocking, but Hudson especially in all blocking. And I think the yards per carry speaks for itself.
Just to this comment, because Watson holds on to Watson played 0 snaps. That was not the problem on Saturday because he didn't play.
Yeah.
Like I get the point about Watson holding on to the ball because I do think he does
fair.
that, but it didn't happen because he didn't play.
Yeah.
At least in this game. So what I did want to highlight is though the run blocking was not, there were not very many people that played he's talking about the Steelers game. I get what you're saying now.
That's fair. Yeah.
I gotcha. That's fair. I thought Adeniji played pretty well as a pass protector on second. I mean, he did what, like, I think 19 at left and 17 on the right. Ended up with an 80.8 pass blocking grade. I would rather him and Ifedi, and we have seen Ifedi taking snaps. We saw him taking snaps on Monday's practice, and we'll see with the joint practices coming up Wednesday and Thursday. We'll see some of that stuff as well. But I did think that Adeniji, Ifedi, and I actually thought Lorenzo Thompson played halfway decent at tackle. I don't think I didn't think the offensive line as a pass protecting unit was as bad as some people were saying afterwards. They were not run blocking very well. It was pretty. I think their highest. This is where I found it funny. Their highest run blockers was the top two were Jordan Akins and Zaire Mitchell-Payton.
Yeah.
In terms of highest graded run blockers in this game, and then it's Lorenzo Thompson and Javion Cohen.
Yep.
And so I actually thought Cohen was okay as a run blocker. He was not very good as a pass protector, which is
the opposite of what we thought we'd get him coming out of college.
Right. That's why it was so crazy to me, because it was like every time I saw him not make a play, it was as a pass protector. And I'm like, that's not what his tape in college would say.
Yeah.
I know some people are a little concerned about the offensive line as a whole. I don't know that I'm there. I'll pass it to you, because I know you were a little bit harder on the offensive line than I was. Yeah. And I can see your points, but I'll let you touch on that.
Well, and this, for me, it's not the line as a whole. Obviously, I'm concerned about the depth at center that was addressed this week.
Yeah. That was awesome, by the way.
But I think it's tackles, and left tackle in particular, scares the shit out of me.
And honestly, it probably should.
And, we don't know when Wills is coming back. We hear he's close, but that's coming from look, man, I do like the fact that the Browns run a professional organization, that they are not transparent on injuries, and they don't owe anyone to be. There's no injury designations to get to the regular season. So they're just saying he's close. I hope he's hella close. It's just, it's tough. It's tough when Hudson is your option. And I don't think Conklin's any closer, or would they be getting Wills more looks at left? They seem to be letting him settle it right, which is where I think he'll be the best. But you got to do what's best for the team, And so if Conklin was going to be back sooner rather than later, then I'd be getting DeJuan acclimated at left. So I don't know what the timetable is for those two players.
So it's his social media post, like I'm back, and then we're a couple weeks into camp now, and we haven't seen him. Now, he was out there watching practice on Monday, and I know that doesn't mean much, but it was the first time he had done that.
Yeah.
So
and that's
it's some sort of progress.
It's simultaneously good, but also incredibly concerning if you're at August 13th, your first game September 8th, and you're saying, hey, our starting tackle is watching practice for the first time. That's the progress update there. I'm not trying to be.
I assume he's been rehabbing inside during.
Yeah, but you can't be making this post talking about Bain came from the pit first, kind of when I don't know, man. MC, I don't know. That's why I'm concerned. And the fact is that we're banking on Wills to be the savior should scare the shit out of you.
Oh boy,
a lot better than Hudson's. All I'll say. That's all.
I mean.
I really want to be a ray of sunshine, but I just
talk about
there's some
awesome.
concerning
we'll get
stuff
there.
here.
Let's talk about what's awesome.
Let me transition. Read my name. What's my name say?
Oh boy.
President of the Mikey Trees fan club.
Buddy, the wide receivers in general were getting open. They
were so good.
If you look at the wide receivers, they played so well, and everyone knows that me and Chad O'Shea have not been on speaking terms. But this is what I need. I need to see development from these young guys. I need to see these young guys start to grow and be dynamic. And you saw that, because the Browns didn't play any of their three starters. These were all the backups, and they look good. They look proficient, and they were playing against people who will play for the Packers. Yeah. And they were getting open, man. So I love to see it. Mikey Trees look good. Cedric Tillman looked good. I have an issue with one play from Cedric Tillman. Huh?
What'd you say?
I have an issue with one play from Tillman.
Okay.
Where I need you to use your damn head and not block a guy who's not even facing you, who wasn't even involved in the play.
That one hurt.
That does hurt. But physically, look at the kid, man. He's ready. He's ready to go. Bell looked good until he left with an injury. Marion Brown. We're going to learn names, people. This kid's out there balling. Like it
Small, but my goodness.
Do you know who
he
led
might be the Jordan of
Browns?
the future.
Do you know who led the Browns in receiving?
I'm gonna guess it was Jamari Thrash.
It was Jamari Thrash.
I was going to get to Jamari Thrash. That was where I was coming next. Dude, I'll tell you what, the one thing I wanted to say about Michael Woods, that contested catch that he makes at the beginning of the game, that's the stuff we talked about when he was drafted. Using his size and body to shield the ball from the defender, to use his makeup as a weapon. That's the stuff he did. Where was he at before? Arkansas, right?
He was at Arkansas and then Oklahoma.
If you go watch his Arkansas tape, it's riddled with stuff like that, where he's just out physicaling the defensive back, and it's like, okay, the defensive back's here, the ball's coming. I'm just going to put my big ass frame right in the way. Strong, reliable hands, make the grab. Boom.
And it's even what leads up to that, his ability to push vertical and shield and then use that leverage to get inside. It's the reason he does all of his work on the inside. He's gritty like that, man. In the intermediate,
it was one step off the line of scrimmage and he had him beat.
Yeah.
He gave him that little wiggle at the line of scrimmage, and the guy's like, oh shit. And then he goes in and it's like, okay, had him beat. Boom. Easy money. Easy money.
He counted for 24 of the 27 yards on that first drive.
Wow.
Yeah, was it?
It's such a credit to him, man, because the Achilles injuries, like of all the improvements that have been made on all these injuries, the Achilles injury is still that one that really seems to hamper guys as they come back, and it especially seems to take longer than a year. And I know Michael Woods tore his Achilles like before the season last year, so you are looking at like a year-ish, right? I don't know the exact timeline there, but
it's been a little over a year.
Okay, but very easily, I would say that Michael Woods could look a lot less far along than he is right now, right? And so that was highly encouraging to me. And I know we're going to have to make some adjustments to our official roster prediction, because I believe Casey and I both had Luke Whippler on our roster predictions.
I actually have to make a change, because I put Luke Whippler on to replace Ryan Allen.
There we go. So I might be spoiler alert, I might be putting Mikey Trees on the roster. Might be having to toss him on there.
Nick Harris.
I've already had Mikey Trees on mine. Now I'm adding Nick Harris.
I think I've lost two now. I can't remember who the other guy I lost is. Was
it Brian Allen?
Yes. It was,
it was the same as me, except you already had Luke Whippler on yours.
Yeah.
Yep. That was the difference.
You're right.
You guys had Luke Whippler already, and I didn't. I want to do one thing on Jamari Thrash, and we can talk about Nick Harris, because I thought there was a story that came out when they interviewed him yesterday. I just wanted to talk about, because he just seems like a guy that's so lovable. Like Nick Harris seems like that dude you want to hang out with. Like it's just the vibe I get from him.
Any dude that has a Bob Marley tattoo on their calf, probably a cool dude.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he had that. I did not know. See, learn something every day. Jamari Thrash, as a guy at that size, sometimes you think, because is he 5? What is he? 5?
I thought 5'10".
They list him at 6'1". I don't think he's 6'1".
Big Christmas just went yard again for the go-ahead home run.
Dude is just mashing baseball.
What a man.
But anyway, Jamari Thrash, he's kind of a smaller guy, like 185, 190. But he will, if you can hit him at the catch point, he's still going to catch the football. Like he's going to catch the football. We've talked about this on this show that, he had some drop issues last year. He had a broken wrist. And like 3 or 4 of those drops were in one game. He just had one awful game that really put it up like that. And most of his drops were after he had broken his wrist. I just think that his body control is ridiculous. His ability to adjust on the move, get in and out of his cuts, adjust in midair to the football, and arrange himself in such a way to make grabs. I thought Jamari Thrash, I really liked what Michael Woods did, but Jamari Thrash was number 2, because DTR was number 1. We'll get to DTR. DTR was number 1 for me on offense, but I thought Jamari Thrash was the second best, biggest standout for me, because he kind of flashed some things that they at times struggled to do last year. And I think he can create some stuff. And I thought he was really good. Nick Harris, right? So this is the funniest thing ever. I don't remember why, Casey, why we were on the phone, but you called me. Oh, I do. I remember because it was that joke that Pete Smith made about Chad O'Shea on the OBR post-game show. Pete's a big Chad O'Shea guy. Casey is a very, very does not like Chad O'Shea very much.
Hold on. Let's my beef is we're into year 5 of this dude being a coach, and the only guy you've developed is DPJ. That's my whole crux of it.
Fair criticism. Fair.
And I think it's fair.
I don't dislike the guy. I just
that's my bad.
I need receivers to receive, man. I don't know.
So I sent him a text. I was like, man, Pete got you good or whatever. And he didn't understand the text. So he gives me a call, and it's hilarious because I was talking to him. And about 2 or 3 minutes after he called me, I'm like, hey, the Browns just got Nick Harris. He's like, what? And I'm like, yeah. So Nick Harris, by the way, Nick, you said you thought he signed like a $5 million deal. He's on like a $2 million deal.
That's crazy, man.
And like 1.5 of it is dead for Seattle. So they got him, and they're going to pay him like $1 million is what the financials of that is basically.
Yes.
So he goes and he does the one. Andrew Berry goes and does Andrew Berry things, and he's like, hey, I'll give you a 6th round pick for Nick Harris at a 7th. And I can't think of a more like veteran GM move than to do a pick swap to make sure you're not screwed out of position if you have another injury. Because you've already had 2 big injuries. Brian Allen.
Position.
Brian Allen.
He doesn't just play center.
Yeah, he's a fullback, and he's
straight.
Extra tight end. He's your 3rd tight end, probably. I need a Nick Harris touchdown. Like, I need air.
He could.
He almost got it. Like, it looked like they were going to go to him on one last year, but it was a fake. And I was like, oh my God, fullback up the middle, just fullback dive. Chubb runs one way, you turn the other way, give it to Nick Harris. Just let that dude rumble, bumble, and stumble into the end zone. That's what I need to see it into the end zone. But like, that's such a savvy move in my mind to be like, I'm going to do a pick swap, and you do it with a guy that's familiar with your organization. He literally was like, got to Cleveland. He gets traded in like 12 hours later. He's across the country because he's coming from Seattle. He's across the country. He gets to Cleveland at 6:30 in the morning, and he's in the facility for fucking morning walkthroughs, dude. Like, he's in the, and then he was like, yeah, I felt pretty welcomed. A bunch of people started texting me and all that stuff, like as I was on my way here. And you could tell in his interview, that dude was tired. You could hear he needed to go take a nap. Like, he had been traveling overnight on that red eye and everything, and he was tired. But like, I don't know, man, that's just such a savvy move in my mind.
Yeah, I just wonder how long it's going to take them to trade for Harrison Bryant now.
Yeah, did he go to Vegas?
No.
He went to Vegas, and they went and drafted Brock Bowers, and they already had Michael Mayer. Like,
I'm
just saying, come on home, man.
Come home, baby.
I'll
tell you what. But as far as the trade goes, I love Andrew Berry's trading. Love it. And you could tell Nick was happy to be back. It seems like most Browns do speak glowingly of this organization, and that's great to see and hear. And it's a great solution in a situation that is really unfortunate. You know, losing two of your centers a week in a preseason. You know, the actual preseason schedule. That's tough. That's a tough situation.
Harrison Bryant, if you traded for him, would hold like a $1.8 million cap hit.
Perfect. Sign me up.
Yep.
Honestly, because
Taki got on it. Let's go. Let's just go all the way back in, dude.
Taki got a little more money. Taki got a little more money, if I'm not mistaken.
Let's see. Taki.
My guess is 4.
So his cap number is for the Patriots is 3.3, but if he's traded, it'd be about 2.3 this year and 2.8 next year because he's on a 2-year deal.
Perfect.
Gotcha.
Okay, but I love having Nick Harris back. I think it will be fun. Like he's just, you can tell he's just so willing. I remember when he transformed his body in year 2 and we thought he was going to be the starting center, and he tears his ACL in camp, if I'm not mistaken.
Second play of the first preseason game.
Yeah.
He got a couple snaps with Deshaun.
There you go. Okay. And then he comes back and he's this fullback, and it's like really cool to see him be 53 and be this fullback and just do whatever the team asks of him. You can tell he just fits in and is that type of guy. So love having him back, and not having to give up a pick is great. So happy to have him back. Great trade.
Added thing, I think that this is a perfect candidate to get on kickoff return. A big guy who's quick and can move in space and block in space. That is a perfect guy to have on your line, man.
Yeah.
I think
Elliott ain't coming back.
Yeah, we got Mo Hurst is
if whatever happens with Michael Hall, I really don't think he's going to be on the active roster. Like,
nope, I don't.
To begin the year, like rather they cut him, he gets suspended, whatever it is. He probably goes on the commissioner's list because I know his court date's September 10th. So you'll probably see him go on that commissioner's list, and while they figure all that stuff out and all that stuff.
Maybe
I think that's a push for Jawan Briggs. It could be Mo Hurst, but I think
it is Mo, because Mo's the best pass rushing defensive tackle who could have conceivably been on the outside.
Belly rub season. I need it.
I love Mo Hurst, but I'm just saying it will be one of those two guys. I don't think they'll bring in another one, I guess, is kind of where I'm at. Like, it's probably Mo Hurst.
You're already too strong there.
Yeah.
To bring in outside, you got enough in-house talent.
Plus, I finally got rid of Jordan Elliott. Don't do that to me. Even though last year was by far his best year.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even close. Let's transition. Let's transition to defense.
We didn't do DTR. We're not.
Yeah, we didn't do
I'm not letting you do this.
You can't. No, we can't.
That's egregious.
Go for it.
14 of 18.
Let's talk about the best thing that happened.
14 of 18, 134 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but looked damn good. Averaged 7.4 yards. I believe that's an attempt.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Not too shabby.
I saw him throw a touchdown. It just didn't count because Zentered was a procedural error, but I saw him drill a slant in on Marion Brown.
Looked fleet of foot, too, after that hip injury. You know, Good to see. Good to see.
Hurdling that dude for the first down and fourth down, that was pretty sweet.
It's not even just that, because if we just go back to what he was last year he was electric.
Yes.
You know, but what we saw him in this game was he was calm in the chaos because the offensive line wasn't blocking great. He was handling it all, staying on schedule. Last year, he was the chaos. Now we see in this transition to him, going through his progressions and getting the ball out and making great decisions. So
he looked calm and comfortable.
There's a 3rd and 1, and Roy Mbaketa, number 61. God bless you. I'm glad you're trying. He's the pathway player. He was going to get someone killed at right tackle. Free release, number 57 comes screaming in. DTR evades the sack, stumbles out of it, and throws the ball away safely.
Yeah.
The next play is a 4th and 1, goes around the left side, hurdles the defender, gets the first down. You go on to score a touchdown, your only touchdown of the day on that drive.
Yep.
Because he evades the sack, makes a good play, a sound decision in the moment, lives to fight another down, and then, we're seeing the kid mature. Now, I know it's the preseason. Does this mean he's going to be good in a regular season 2-3 years from now? No, it doesn't. I'm just seeing a kid who I saw at the beginning of preseason last year who was tremendously fun, very frenetic, but it was like you could see that he has traits. Well, now we're seeing to put these traits into a package that is like a pocket passing quarterback who can hurt you with his legs. And you're starting to see it all come together, man. And we saw it during the game last year. Pittsburgh, they were able to win the Pittsburgh game, but it was definitely he was high and low all game long. Then he comes back and he's playing against Denver. Now you lose the Denver game, but I can't act like I didn't see 2 drives in a row where he was commanding the offense and leading the team downfield. And then he gets hurt and we don't see him. The hip injury happens later, whatever. But I think he's picking up where he left off in that Denver game from what I'm seeing now on the field. I'm very excited. And my hope is that we see him get run as soon as Winston's done, I think I want to see DTR before I see Huntley. We know who Huntley
Agreed.
is.
Agreed.
So I want to see DTR against a little better competition and see if he's still keeping up at this level.
Yeah, because I think to me the biggest thing is you just looked calm and comfortable. Like, I mean, I know you said that, but like, that's what I come back to when I rewatch it and I watch him in there, and it's just like, yeah, man, like you're gonna have chaos. There's gonna be chaos around you, like you said. He navigated the chaos, and he went from causing the chaos to navigating the chaos, and it was just, I don't know, man. Like it kind of almost reminded me of that fun run that Josh Dobbs had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you know, it just he just looks like he understands. The game looks a little slower to him. Again, preseason. Most of this shit doesn't matter. But last year in the preseason, he didn't look like this.
No, and he was fun as shit, but it was for different reasons.
Yeah, because he was just
out
there blocking dudes.
Chaos. Yeah.
Yeah. I posted that clip. That was such a welcome to the NFL moment for him. But I just want to say, you know, I've loved this new territory of having a quarterback on the roster that can just sit and learn and develop and have that time, right? Because you're not even talking about being a second string quarterback. Now you're the third string quarterback, and what a great place, what a luxury that is.
You're learning from just a pro's pro in Jameis Winston.
Yeah, absolutely. Which, you know, Jameis, man, I saw that pregame speech from him. That was really cool. Wow. There's
I love that dude so much, man. He's just, oh my god.
The dog's out. We ready? Let's go.
I do think Dorian has a long-term future with the Browns. I'll say that. I think he has a long-term future here. I think he will sign a second deal of some sort when he's done on his rookie contract, and I think that'll end up being a really nice pick from Andrew Berry.
Yeah, and Jameis is under contract this year, so if he grows enough, then you already have your backup in place, and you're not paying big money to do it, and that's where the Browns eventually want to be.
Right.
Yeah. That's what the Patriots did for so long. They would just draft a dude to back up Tom Brady for a few years, and then if that guy wanted too much money, they'd just draft another one or sign a veteran like Brian Hoyer like 8 times. But
Jacoby Brissett's come full circle. He's back in New England.
Yep, he's back.
Holy shit! Why didn't I put that together? I didn't even think about. Damn it! I missed that one. That one went right the hell. I mean, I know he's there, but I forgot that's who drafted him. I just forgot all about that. Okay, now we transition to the defense.
Now,
how freaking good was Isaiah Thomas? Like, oh my god! Like I called him in my stock up, stock down for Browns Wire. I called him kind of the forgotten man because you know if you remember, he and Alex Wright had the same procedure. They both had a knee scope at it was the same day, I think.
Yeah,
same day.
It was reported to us on the same day that it happened.
Right, and so he ends up on the practice squad. It kind of just fades away from your memory. And if you remember, though, a couple of years ago, he had some plays that really kind of were when he was a rookie. He had some things that really interested you. His bull rush in that game was just, he had that right tackle in hell. Just an absolute hell. There's a spin move where he starts to bull rush the guy. He spins to the inside. He doesn't get the quarterback.
He has to chase him around.
Chases him around. Does he just goes out of bounds or throws it away or something? I don't remember.
Yeah, he gets a half-yard gain on it.
And but it was just the quarterback had no shot. No shot. He starts to get up in the guy's pads and he goes, whoop, spins around us. Holy shit. And just chase the guy out of there. And it was that was hey, don't forget, I can kind of play football. I'm going to make your decision a little bit harder when you're rounding out this defensive lineman. Could this be a situation where if Mike Hall's not on the roster or counting towards the roster, could it actually be an extra defensive end because so many of those defensive ends, Isaiah Thomas included, can play on the inside?
Yeah.
And that could be an avenue for Isaiah Thomas. If he continues to play like this, I told you this, Casey, on the phone, he will be on someone's active roster if he does this a couple more times.
Yeah, I said that immediately on the post-game show too. I was like, any hopes that you had to get this kid on your practice squads? Gone.
Bye-bye.
You can't put that on tape. You
Yeah.
put that kind of in his size. Yeah, I don't know, man. He can use his hands really well. The bull rush was working. His transition from the bull to the spin, his ability to set an edge and knife inside. Like, this is the deepest edge room in the NFL, period.
Yeah.
That kid is a rosterable player and should be in a rotation, not just on a roster eating up a spot. Like, that kid could be in someone's rotation and do a ton of good right now, which it's good for him, man, because he flashed as a rookie. He was, in my opinion, because he came in with Alex Wright. He was the more ready player at that point. I think he was a 7th rounder. He was a more ready player than Wright. Now Wright, his physical gifts were higher than Thomas's, but now he's honed his craft and he definitely ahead in the pecking order. And then Thomas can't even get on the field last year, and now you've seen the kid put in the work, and yeah, man, he definitely flashed. He was one of my stock ups as well, and you got to assume with all the starters going to get their work during the practices with the Vikings, Thomas is going to get a ton of run next Saturday, and if he puts anywhere similar on tape, like he's forcing a conversation internally. Because they're not going to move off your other Isaiah McGuire, So Jacob brings up a great fucking point. If you're going to be down a defensive tackle, maybe you just don't roster an extra defensive tackle. Mm-hmm. Maybe that goes your edge because you have so much talent in that one area. So
you don't want to give up. Maybe you want to keep a little extra of that.
No. I lost the roster competition last year, but I did pick Isaiah Thomas to make the team. I always liked him. And I just think if you rolled the clock back 365 days and you listen to the show, we were speaking pretty highly about Isaiah Thomas until he got hurt.
Until the injury, yep.
Until he got hurt. And so it's really exciting to see him put this type of stuff out there. And you never know. The Browns now, I would obviously, selfishly, I would like to see Isaiah Thomas just develop and become this 7th round pick for the Browns and be a feather in Andrew Berry's cap. But if the roster constraints are such, maybe you can get some type of day 3 pick for him. Maybe there is some type of, the Browns made a couple moves last year, right? They did the Tyrone Wheatley trade. So somewhere later on in camp, it got Pierre Strong. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we
for a tight end or a tackle, maybe.
Sure, maybe, yeah. There's options. There's options, and I know. I understand that there's some chatter about Andrew Berry right now, but I do think that the book is far from out on a lot of these draft picks, and Isaiah Thomas could absolutely prove to be one of those guys that maybe flew under the radar a little bit early, but could develop. So these guys are all on different timelines. There's certainly potential. I saw a ton of potential on Saturday. That was great to see.
One of you out there, by the way, subscribed to the YouTube channel when I asked you to at the beginning of this pod. So thank you.
Love you.
Thank you.
I promised to. I'm sorry. I haven't put the homage gear in the links, but I will. I've been slacking. That's why I'm at. Full peek behind the curtain. I'm buying a home. And that's been a really I didn't know how involved buying a home would be.
You literally did a podcast with me while I had one of the worst home buying experiences ever. Even though our house is amazing, everything that went wrong could go wrong in the buying process happened. Remember all the conversations?
I guess I see the palace you've turned it into now of funsies everywhere, and I just put rose-colored glasses on.
Yeah, call Andy. I was going to say call Andy. He'll tell you.
Jacob's got all kinds of fun knickknacks, and I love them.
Does he have patty wax?
Give a dog a bone.
I got some bones for the dog.
Here we go. Look at us.
Jameis. That motherfucker. I tell you what, that dude he drops a knickknack, patty whack, gives the dog. But I was like, this motherfucker. That's what I said. I was talking to in our group chat for Browns Wire, and Corey Kinnan put it in there. He's like, I'm gonna grab this, whatever. He puts it in there, puts it in our Slack channel, and I'm like, this mother.
Priceless, man.
And you don't know when he's gonna strike. Like, you just don't know when he's gonna strike.
He might just sing to you like he's.
Did you see the shot that we're gonna get to Devin Bush. I promise you. I was about to tell you we were gonna get to Devin Bush. Did you see the shot that David Njoku took at Vrabel and Stefanski yesterday?
Yeah, about being ugly.
Yeah, he said they were standing next to each other, right? And he walks up and he's like, oh man, look at this. This is $1 million shot, right? He's like, this is $1 million shot. Vrabel, he's like Vrabes and Stefanski, or Vrabes and Kevin. And then he kind of starts to walk up. They're both so ugly as he walks away from them. He was buttering them up like he was gonna be like, these are attractive men. He's like, they're both ugly. Fuck, you know. It's like, oh, dude, what the fuck? Like, what do you do? I have to. We can talk about Devin Bush. We can talk about the linebackers.
I was about to say, if we talk about Devin Bush, I'm gonna talk about Diabate.
Diabate, man, and I'll save Diabate because everybody on this show knows Diabate, I was pulling for that dude last year to make the roster and everything, and like everybody knows I like Diabate. I still wish we would see him more as a situational pass rusher because I think he's fantastic at it. But I know you're going to talk about this in a second, Casey. But like, he was a legit linebacker in this game. Like he was playing linebacker, not just like a gimmicky linebacker. I will touch on Devin Bush and I'll let you do the Diabate stuff just because MC talked about it. What I'll say about Devin Bush was he was not great in coverage, but I thought he was great as a run defender in this game. Me and you kind of talked about this, Casey. Like, I don't know that like his play recognition probably isn't quite there, but when he does see it, he has ridiculous movement skills. Elite. You called them elite, Casey. Mm-hmm. He has elite movement skills. Like his ability to cover ground is evident.
He might get there by accident. No, he's so fluid of an athlete, dude.
He may have read the play wrong and got lucky, but
third most tackles on the team.
Well, and here's the thing. Even if he reads the play wrong, unless that running back hits it quickly, he's got the speed to recover from reading it wrong. Like, because his movement skills and range, I turn on the all 22 and this guy's just, and I'm like, okay, like you might not be like a starter, but like, if you're, especially in those early down run situations where you need a linebacker to, if he can work more on his actual run fits, the aspect of reading and diagnosing, his physical skills, you can't deny him.
There's not a backup with as good movement skills, a linebacker in the NFL. Yeah. And between him and JOK, they have the fastest two linebackers on the same team. Like, it's ridiculous to watch him move. He's such a fluid mover. And you can see why he was a first-round pick. Just that trait alone makes him a unicorn. And he's not huge, but he's not tiny either. I mean, he's the modern move linebacker, and I'm just interested to see what kind of role he will fit into once these starters are on the field. Like I'm interested just to see how Schwartz will deploy that type of athleticism and what kind of sub packages we will see Devin Bush on.
Here's the thing that sticks out to me is that you both talked about his tackling and his movement and identifying. When I remember when the Browns added him, I was talking to a bunch of Pittsburgh people, and the number one thing that they said was since he tore his ACL, he started playing more timidly. And that's like what really hurt him, what was their assessment in Pittsburgh. And I get it. It's only preseason. I understand that. But I did not see Devin Bush acting timid out there on the football field.
No, he looked good.
And so that's
a few people too, man.
Yeah, right. And that's really encouraging to me. That is a great sign. And it's one of those additions by Andrew Berry. Like could Devin Bush be this year's Mo Hurst, where you just say, hey, they picked this guy up for relatively nothing, and look at him being a meaningful contributor on defense. Like, I think that's a reasonable outcome. That's something that could happen. It's one preseason game, but I definitely think Bush could make the roster, and that's a win in my book.
Oh, new report says the Niners and Ayuk are close to an extension.
Good. I just think it's hilarious. This whole thing's hilarious, and I'm exhausted of it.
I'm so sick of it.
But
It's
they
not even
called
my
his
team.
bluff. They called his bluff. He's like, I want traded. He's like, all right, go out there and get a trade partner. And then they even agreed.
I don't want to go to the
Like,
place.
you know what I mean?
That
Like,
actually want me.
Like,
so
how are
now
you?
I'm gonna go back to-
You are an all-pro in San Francisco. Why would you? Why would like? Okay, maybe you have family ties or something's meaningful to you about Pittsburgh. I can respect that. But in terms of on the field,
But
like,
he's
you
a
are
West Coast guy. I don't
Mhm.
think he has any ties to Pittsburgh.
there's something there between him and Tomlin, man. I don't know. He posts
Yeah,
a lot
look
of social
alike.
media.
Same.
They
Right.
look alike.
Right. But like okay, Brandon Ayuk in San Francisco. You're seeing that Debo is not the guy that's going to beat man on that team, right? So you, as Brandon Ayuk, are the unquestioned alpha of that squad moving forward, right? You have been nothing but successful in San Francisco, and your role is only going to grow. Debo's getting older, right? You're in your prime. It's your time to shine. Brock Purdy's shown that he can be that dude for them, right? You're in the perfect situation to thrive. Why would you want to leave that?
They already committed to Debo, which I think is a fundamental mistake because they didn't have CMC yet when they made that contract. So they were asking Debo to do all these different things and be everything for this team. And then you go get CMC. So you don't need Debo. You can just let him be a little gadget guy and be tough over the middle. But his game is not going to age as well as Ayuk's.
Right.
Ayuk's game will age beautifully based on the way he plays the game. So I would rather be in the Brandon Ayuk business than the Debo Samuel business.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is they already allocated that contract. So for them, it's hard to justify putting all this in one room. When on the other hand, you got to be squirreling away shit for Purdy. And you got a left tackle who's holding out.
True.
So it's not all gravy over there in San Fran this offseason.
Hit me with the Diabate stuff, Casey.
The man is a legitimate linebacker now. Last year, similar to DTR, dude was just running all over the field and making these splash plays, and you notice him because he's big for the position. But he was he like we would be excited about him. Then we'd see his PFF scores, and he'd be grading poorly because he's overrunning a ton of shit.
Yeah,
that is not who I saw on Saturday. This kid was patient. His feet were moving, but he wasn't frenetic. He was diagnosing and then and just triggering downhill, man. I am very excited about what I saw. And it wasn't splash plays. It was consistent plays, fundamentally solid play from linebacker, from a plus athlete who I think is only getting better. And you saw him being rewarded where he was being placed in the game. He was out on the field opening snap. You know what I mean? That's the faith that he's earned in that linebacking room. So I'm just super. No, granted, they're hurt and they got a bunch of guys on the sideline watching. But, like, he's legit. That's a legit linebacker. And I'm just – because he was a pass rusher in college. He transitioned to off-ball backer. We were surprised he looked as good as he did in coverage during the preseason last year. But it was just a fundamental shift that I saw in him and the patience. And there's a play that he actually makes where they shift, right? They bring motion across. And on that play, Bush has to call it. And he calls the shift back. And the defensive line shifts one way, the linebackers shift the opposite way, and they do a play action. And he takes a step forward on the play action, recognizes that it was just a play action fake, and he stays with his assignment, which was Josh Jacobs. And Josh Jacobs comes out to the flat and catches the football, and he's dead to rights. Now, the ref shouldn't have blown the whistle because Jacobs' hip never touched, but Diabate ends up getting the tackle for loss. But it's just to see that shift from him makes me very excited about what he could be growing in this room, because he's a guy who has starters in front of him. You don't need him to be a starter this year or even next. He could be just in the same way. You could have another meaningful contributor at linebacker, just like Bush should be this year, and Diabate just not now, but even going forward.
Miles Harden will hit you in the mouth.
Damn straight he will.
My goodness. There was a play in the flat where he came crashing down. You can see him. They're playing kind of some off zone, maybe some cover 3. I'm not exactly sure, but like he's kind of off of him. He had had given a big cushion to the I think it was a tight end. I can't remember who it was, but
it was a tight end. The tight end chipped on Thomas. Thomas rushed on that play, and the kid went out in the flat.
He goes out in the flat. You see Harden watch the quarterback, sees the quarterback turn to the flat, triggers. You see it click in his head, triggers, comes crashing down. Dude catches the ball, just him. Miles Harden just puts his ass down.
If you pause the tape at the point where he throws the ball to the tight end, Harden's 8 yards away from him. And it's instantaneous the way he clicks down.
Wow.
He had his eyes on it the whole time.
You watch Harden. I don't think he didn't play. How much did he play? 24 snaps. He played 24 snaps. I can see where they could find that a role for him in a year or two. He could, like, if there was an injury and he played this year, I think he could be okay at it, at some aspects of it. But he's got the physical makeup and skill set to survive in the slot. Like, I think he can.
We'll find out sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the Greg Newsome situation.
That's what I'm saying, man. It was very telling to me that Cam Mitchell did not play in that game. Usually that is a honor reserved for veterans or injured players. He's neither. He's not a veteran, second-year guy. He's not hurt. He didn't play. Why? Because I think they're expecting him to have to play a big role.
Yeah.
Which I think puts Miles Harden as not only if he is right now, but I think by the time we get halfway through the season, he'll be the backup to Cam Mitchell. Now, whether Newsome comes back, I don't know, or how soon Newsome comes back, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
I just as we're winding down the defense here, I just want to say 11 tackles led team, 7 solo tackles led team, 1 sack, only quarterback hit of the night, led team. Brady Breeze, hello,
buddy.
How are you,
buddy?
Talk about an opportunity to shine.
Yep.
Holy moly, that's the type of preseason darling stuff that you look for, and just say, this guy ends up getting an opportunity that you didn't see coming, and really made the most of it.
You could have gave me $20 to name every Brown safety on the roster. I wouldn't have named him.
Nope.
He was not on my radar whatsoever, but he was all over the damn field.
Yeah.
And popping cats too.
He makes a couple plays. I'm like, who the fuck?
He's 39. Who's 39?
Right.
I'm like, you start going, you're like, because when I looked at it, I remember them signing him. I remember him being brought in, but like, again, like you said, not on my radar, just wasn't.
No.
And it's like, there's a practice squad candidate that could be interesting to have hang around.
Yep. And just keep putting good shit on tape, man.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to make this active roster just based on what's in front of you. Unless some detrimental injuries happen, it's not in the cards for you. But don't let that deter you from just putting the best tape you can every time you hit the field. It will pay off, whether it's a practice squad here, a practice squad somewhere else. Like, that kid, tenacious. He's all gas. You know what I mean? It was a ton of fun to watch, man.
There's just it's encouraging to me because you can see that this Browns talent evaluation is continually, certainly in the secondary, just has some type of thing dialed in where they just seem to find guys that are intriguing, exciting. Whether it's Miles Harden in the 7th round, who I think we all think highly of here, or you're just pulling guys out of nowhere, and you can tell me Brady Breeze was an MLB first baseman, and I would believe you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know who that guy is.
Right. So, and last thing I want to say, Cade York damn near kicked that ball above the upright itself. Holy moly, his leg. You just see why he got drafted. Mm-hmm. I know it was 1 field goal. But
dude, like, if he can make a bunch of kicks and then someone gives him like a 7th round pick for him, that would be the most ridiculous thing of all time.
Right.
They have no problem holding on to him if they don't get that offer.
Mm-hmm.
They'll just chill in the practice squad, continue to develop.
Because nobody's got that leg. Nobody. Yeah. Like Cade. I mean, like, obviously, Justin Tucker makes insane things, but you can just see it. You can see that he just has. You talked about unicorn traits. Cade's got that leg strength is unicorn stuff.
Yeah, he slaughtered that ball.
So, I didn't realize it was from 55 because
it looked effortless, right?
Right.
Because of how
effortless and just
how easy he made it. I was like, oh, nice. Cade made a kick. And then I was like, I was looking at the box score later and I saw that it said 55. I was like,
right.
Holy hell.
So,
Okay, we got to talk about this before we get out of here.
all right.
Jacob
Spoiler
said he
alert
was,
warning. Oh, sorry.
oh no. This isn't this. This isn't this. We're gonna talk about one more defender. We started off talking about James Hudson. We're going to end it talking about someone that Jacob said he'd eat crow if he played better. Jacob is not eating any crow tonight.
Ugh.
Siaka Ika. Sorry, he gave me the Ika. It was bad, man. His snaps were bad. I went back and I've watched them several times now.
Right out the gate.
I was a very low level defensive lineman in college. I'm telling you right now, with the thing that you'll get preached and it'll get knocked in your head, be a fucking athlete. Do not get knocked off your feet. You can't be on the ground at defensive line. It is a cardinal sin. But he was on 2 of his first 3 snaps. He was on the ground. Like you can't, and we're talking about a guy who we're talking about being asked to anchor and play 1 tech. He cannot hold the ground at the point of attack. It's not a thing he does. I don't know what his role could be. And I'm not saying there's things that can't be fixed. I'm just saying you can't put that on tape. So first play, it's a double. He's on the ground, just off the rip. Second play, it's a workup double. So the guy doesn't stay on him, but he gets shoved out the frame. Like he's not in the picture. Third, he tries to shoot a gap. Dude gets him at a hip. He's on the ground. He's off the field after that. The coaches saw that and pulled him off the field. The next snap he gets back on the field, he jumps off sides. This is your opportunity to grab a spot. They want to keep you. They have draft equity in you, but you have to show them something. And what he showed on Saturday, man, is unplayable, was what I saw. So hopefully he has a big bounce back this week, plays one of the joint practices, but he's going to get a ton of run in the game against the Vikings on Saturday. Buddy, if you have a shot in hell at getting on this roster, you're going to have to play your face off and stay on your feet, big man. You do no one any good on the ground. So that's my PSA to Siaka.
I don't think I need to add any more to that.
I think I just need to walk away from this.
Sorry.
Jawan Briggs.
We should have opened with it so we can end it on a positive note. That's my bad.
I thought Jawan Briggs wasn't. Jawan Briggs certainly wasn't a liability.
He came in as soon as Siaka went out, and all of a sudden it's like, ooh, 53. That's another thing we got to talk about. Does Nick Harris get his number back?
So right now they have two 36s as well. One of the defensive backs they just signed. Cade York and that defensive back they just signed.
So strange.
Now, the shirt that Nick Harris was wearing, he was wearing a Jersey T-shirt during that presser yesterday, and it was 53.
Okay.
We'll see. You get joint practices tomorrow.
They're allowed to in the preseason as long as the 2 players can't be on the field at the same time. Because they're 90-man rosters, and some teams have retired too many numbers to make that a thing.
Okay, sure.
Like the Bears.
Okay. Well, I think if push comes to shove, Nick Harris has been here for a while. I think you can give him the 53. That's my thought.
Well, I don't think it's going to be pretty hard for Briggs to make the roster. So
true, but you never know.
Look good, man.
He did.
They do look good.
He has the strength. I feel that like Ika wishes he could have.
He plays so powerful at the point.
He has the strength that everyone tells me Ika has.
Yeah,
but I've never seen.
I don't want to shit on Ika, but like you got to show me something, man.
Be playable.
The eye in the sky don't lie, man. I watched it multiple times. I cut it up today and sent it to Jacob to talk about, and it's in the email ether. It may arrive in his email tomorrow morning.
Gmail was like, we're not doing this.
It did. It was like they didn't like it either. They're like, hell no, you can't have it. So are we going to do this real quick?
Yeah, with that, I think we have some Deadpool Wolverine official spoiler alert if you haven't seen it yet. Right? This is your time. Thank you. We love you. We appreciate the person that hit the subscribe button when Jacob asked, because we are giving away a Browns jersey when we hit 1,000, and we want you to win that Browns jersey. So please subscribe. This is your spoiler warning. Okay, Deadpool Wolverine.
He has risen, baby girl. I've gone back and forth trying to figure out what. I think it was a cinematic masterpiece. I can understand why it wouldn't be your cup of tea if it wasn't your cup of tea, and I'm not going to judge you for that.
Yeah.
But don't judge me for saying,
maybe I'm drinking that tea.
I have seen this movie twice. The second it's available on digital, I will own it and watch it again.
Mm-hmm.
Clips come up on Twitter and TikTok all the time, and I will watch them every
Channing Tatum is everywhere right now.
I love him so much.
I know so many people were so mad about that. I absolutely loved it.
Oh my God.
When he said he's my he said it's been a while since I've seen Sling Blade hit me again. I just think that what really took it over the top for me was the soundtrack was perfect.
Yeah, it's up there.
At every moment, like the Madonna song as they're being crushed by the or being disintegrated by the
Time Ripper.
Yeah, by the Time Ripper, and it's
Madonna's Like a Prayer.
Yeah, and then when they make his top explode, when Wolverine's top explodes, dude, that dude is, how old did I say? He's like 50. Oh my God.
I was going to say 57. Is that a real thing?
They're going to make him do it till he's 90.
He's 55.
I lost that. 55. I lost that shit.
But his top explodes at 55 years old, and I instantly did not feel like a man anymore. I was like, "Oh my God!" And then you get the Deadpool look back, and he's like,
"Look at the abs."
When he puts the Wolverine mask on, I was just like,
the cowl on, yeah.
Oh my God! It just got me in the feels. This was the Wolverine role that he deserved for so long. The Wolverine, the last one where the movie begins, where they dig up his corpse, like that actually was a good film.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Logan was amazing.
Logan. Sorry, I couldn't remember the name of it, but it was just like I'm such a upbeat, like it just brings me down, so I can't like rewatch it for fun. But like now I'm like finally have a fun Wolverine movie. I love it so much. He deserved it, man. He deserved it. It was awesome.
If you're going to rewatch Logan, do the black and white version.
There's a black and white version.
Yes, you can get a black and white version of Logan. It hits hard,
right.
Dude. It's almost like watching Johnny Cash sing "Hurt" from 9 Inch Nails when he redid it. That's like it gives, I don't know. But yes, man. Anyone who knows my background, man, I worked in the movie industry for years. I ran a movie theater. I've seen so many damn movies. This is the most fun I've had in a theater in a decade. I had so much fun in that theater, and I was feeding off the crowd. The cameos were hitting. It was just everything, man. Like, this was the best fan service movie I've ever seen. They knew Ryan Reynolds knew what he could do with the Marvel backing. Like, and he just went all into it, and he gave Marvel shit the whole movie. Yeah. It was just the fourth wall breaking was excellent.
The gravestone.
The gravestone for 20th Century Fox was just like, oh my God. And then he throws in freaking Johnny Storm, Chris Evans. It was just like,
God. I lost it.
It was like, oh my God.
I lost it.
I don't know how packed the theater was and how the reaction was, but the pop the crowd gave when Blade walks out, when Wesley Snipes comes out as Blade, the pop that was in the audience I was in, that was a moment, man. It wasn't quite Cap putting on or picking up Monier, but it was a pop. It was a big time pop, and for me it made me feel good because I grew up with those Blade movies.
Yeah,
and the first time I saw those Blade movies when they first came out, because I went to theater to see them because I was a big Wesley Snipes guy. I didn't even know that was a Marvel property. I didn't read that comic growing up. That one missed me. So, obviously you find that out as you're watching the Blade trilogy. I found out that was a Marvel property. But I didn't even occur to me that he was going to be pulled into this. Because him and Ryan Reynolds didn't get along on Blade 3, and it was like a big deal because Ryan Reynolds was in Blade 3 as Hannibal. There's a lot of things playing into it, but I didn't see it coming. And I avoid trailers like the plague. My rule of thumb is if I know I'm going to see a movie in theaters, I will not watch the trailers at all. I go into it raw dog it, completely blind. So every one of those cameos caught me off guard. It was a thing of beauty. And I don't know where you go from here with the franchise. But I imagine that Marvel sees what just happened,
Yeah.
and there's no way you don't try to keep this going without cheapening it.
So,
You don't want to beat it into the ground,
right.
but you need to ride this lightning. That's the way I look at it.
It's crossed $1 billion. It's already
Yes.
at $1 billion.
Yep.
It's the first Marvel movie to do that since No Way Home, since Spider-Man.
Wow. Okay.
Which I felt was the last real good one. Like, I've liked
Agreed.
some of the Marvel movies, but the last really good one was No Way Home. And that's because No Way Home, it did the same thing almost.
Right.
It brought us Toby. It brought us Andrew Garfield. It brought us all of that stuff. And, like, I'm a Spider-Man guy. Like, I love just about almost every
It was
superhero.
Deadpool. He was whipping in the car, bud.
I know. He was just, exactly. But, like, so I love No Way Home on a different level than some people did, just because that was my thing. Spider-Man, and like when I was coming of age watching superheroes, that's when Toby was Spider-Man. Like, I was starting to really, that's like as far back as I can remember and stuff, is like Toby's. So that meant a lot to me. I had more fun on this movie. I just did, because at every turn, it was just like, you'd stop laughing and you'd be like, oh, okay. And then you'd be fucking laughing again. And then, like, there's just the unnecessary shots. Like, I love the shot they took at Ben Affleck, that Jennifer Gardner took at Ben Affleck when it was like, oh, I'm sorry, your Daredevil died. She's like, don't be. And it's just like it's little lines like that I'm like, oh my God, like, because they were married and they're divorced and there's like bad blood there and they were together in that movie. And it was like all this, it continued to deliver at every turn for me. It's just deliver. And it's just so funny because there's so many little things that you'll forget about it. Mm-hmm. I just, the thing that just like sets it home for me is at the end when he's supposedly dead and Paradox thinks he's going to get away with it. And then he just says, he has risen, baby girl. And then he's like, fuck. And then you get the Edward McQueen. You're just like, and then he tells Wolverine to put away his greasy tits.
Yep.
I just want to say, well, a few things. Number one, I'm probably going to go see it for the second time tomorrow, because now that we're talking about it again, I'm just like, I need to go watch it again. I saw the first Deadpool like 6 times in theaters. That's how much I enjoyed that. So it's really reinvigorated my I've just had movie credits stacking up. Been a part of Cinemark's movie club for literally forever, and so I'm gonna go use some of those. But I just want to say, so I grew up with Spider-Man, but also X-Men, and X-Men was always one of my favorites as a kid. I think TMNT takes the crown, but anyway, I love X-Men, and all of those original X-Men movies that came out just fell short in my mind. There were a couple good ones. I like Days of Future Past a lot. But I just think that my favorite thing about this movie is that it opens the door and it creates so much more interest for a lot of that X-Men stuff that I just feel like really did not get the run that it deserved, because a bunch of those movies were rough. And Gambit is my favorite X-Men. I had no idea Gambit was going to be in it. I had no idea it would be Channing Tatum. And it was it was so perfect. Every time I see that meme, like, oh, I'm going to make a name for myself today, I see it on Twitter all the time. It makes my heart so happy. And now people are like, should we have a Gambit movie? Is Channing Tatum going to keep getting to play Gambit? And there's just all this new, renewed vigor for X-Men. And it makes my heart so happy. And so, like, more so than even the movie, just as an X-Men fan, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I can't wait to see where it goes and what comes from this, because this is the type of success. This is. I was equally depressed that Furiosa did so poorly, because I love Mad Max, as I am happy that this movie has done so well because of the doors. Like, could we have more Blade? Could we have more Wesley Snipes? Because that was fucking amazing. I loved it. And he looks badass too, for whatever age he is. Right? I've been watching Wesley Snipes movies for my whole life, and he's just still.
Yeah, he's in his 60s.
Holy moly. There's just so many possibilities now.
So the fourth wall breaking is like what was elite for me, just elite. because it's like it's even inside of himself. It isn't just the fact that Deadpool knows he's in a movie and he brings the audience along with him, but it's that he knows that Ryan Reynolds is an actor who plays that. So like the whole like when he calls he calls him Van Milder, like dude,
And he's like,
dude, that was so good. And then his response is
he's like,
what was
is that what you think I fucking do?
like it was so good when he pulls out of the apartment. TVA's right there. He's like, whoa, is this supposed to be scary? Pegging isn't new for me, buddy, but it is for Disney. Like just those little interactions, man, for me just make the movie everything. And I'm so glad that Marvel took a chance, because this is a chance for Disney to do a rated R film that says the word fuck 118 times. Like that happened. You know what I mean? Like I'm just so glad they took that leap, and I just hope they keep taking more chances going forward.
Did you know that the MCU's actually said it 119 times?
I think,
yeah, Star-Lord
got to say it in Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, that's for sure.
two final thoughts here. The cameo where Chris Evans actually says all of those things, like just made it perfection. And I think it's really cool to see this superhero stuff evolve into what it is, because there's so many of us that are, let's say, I don't know, between 30 and 50 that like grew up with a lot of this stuff and just have never let it go. So now here we all are as adults, right? And we want to touch on the R-rated stuff. We want to get into that because we are adults now. We're not just kids anymore. And so for them to like recognize that and like take that leap that you're saying, like I said originally, this just opens the doors to go in so many new directions in terms of superheroes. And like The Boys is another example of it, right? But like this for Disney to do this is just ooh, I can't wait. It's
a good place to stop.
It's a great place to stop. It's 122 minutes of hot Barking Brown show action. So with that said, this has been a sexy Packers, Browns, Deadpool, Wolverine, amazing Barking Brown show. Nick, he's Jacob. That's Casey. Go Browns. Go Deadpool. Love Wolverine.